this is my second video in my Jane Austen 250th progress. Like I mentioned previously, I was going to be mixing and matching different low volumes for my backgrounds. In this case, I used 4 that came out of the Fat Quarter bundle due to their size. The pieces that I bought separately were only 1/4 yards, and so I couldn't get the size I needed. I have gone through on and marked the final trim size that they suggested. Then I went through my serger and just quickly edged it to stop any raveling. And then I have gone in and marked the diagonal center of those so that I can start my placements of the pieces. And then that way, everything is there for when I am ready. I do need to make some of the stems. I have absolutely no stems started or made yet. So after I, play around here a little bit, see how this is going to work. I do need to, I guess, pay attention to how far away these points are from the final line. I'm going to have to go ahead and look in the pattern and see if it gives, inches or centimeters, or obviously we're going to need the 1/4 inch, for when we stitch, but there's got to be some type of guideline for those. And then same with this guy. Let's see, they have the leaf touching the purple, well, the center flower. And then what I'll do is line up the center of that flower to that marked line. Same with the center flower up here. So again, I just need to figure out what this final size is, the distance. So I was working on it, so I figured I would go ahead and show where I'm at, right? How I'm working my background with the, the scrappy, controlled scrappy, I guess you would say. And with my color changes. So that is where I am at. I really like the color choices. I am a huge fan of purple. It is my happy color. So yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and start working on the stems. I did buy the tools that Lori Holt recommends, and also that Riley Blake mentioned in their videos. Please know that I've never done this. I am not here to teach anything. I am here to just talk and walk my way through. If you need instructions on how to do this, please go to the Riley Blake Designs YouTube channel, because their videos are fantastic. She is doing a beautiful job on teaching and walking through. But I did grab the bias tape maker, the 1/4 inch, and I did grab a small bottle of Best Press, and I'm going to pick one green to work up probably all the seams, all the stems. 1, 2, 3. So it's every other block across that top row. 4. There's 4 on this side row. So I probably will just pick one green and go ahead and do all of them in the same print. So I dug through my stash and I found just a cut. I don't even know how big it is. 8 inches of this dotty print. It's got black and cream dots in it. 2003 Timeless Treasures. So I think it's really cute, and I put it up against a couple different greens in the collection that will be used for the leaves, and to me it plays well. So I'm gonna go ahead and try out this fancy dancy tool that I've never used. And hopefully this peaches and cream best press smells well. So seriously, that was my first time using this Clover bias tape maker 1/4 inch. That was super fun. I'm very, very pleased. On my full piece of fabric, I did use Magic Quilting and Crafting Spray. This guy. And then I did press it. So he is nice and firm right now. You can see that there. I then cut my 1/2 inch strips. And then I did follow suit. I went and found a tutorial from Lori Holt directly that has where she uses her best press, puts, you know, this, let's pretend I sprayed him with best press. I make a diagonal, and then I insert, and then as it's kind of damp, I'm using the iron here while this goes through. I did like this. I liked the outcome. I liked the precision. I liked the stiffness. Then, even though these aren't bias, I did give my hand at trying to just angle some of them, because on this first Chawton block, I do need some slightly angled. They're not the best. Again, I didn't bias cut them. So I'm not exactly sure if I'm going to use them as is, reshape them, get them wet again. Either way, some of them did turn out quite nice. For example, if I were to cut that in half and only use, you know, half of him, put my little blue flower, I think it works. It, you know, I don't need it to be bias. I just need it to be slightly curved. So wanted to pop in and just let you know I was very pleased with that lovely little tool. I am glad I picked it up. And I did use the best press along the way, like she had suggested in her video. So I did go through and press my pieces. My interfacing is not the one they called for. I had no idea what I was buying, I'll be honest. This one is a much lighter weight, very see-through, rips fairly easy. And one side is actually adhesive. What I did do was to make sure that the adhesive side, once turned, was on the back, so that when I go to press it down onto the background, it does do a slight fuse. I used, let me get it to slide over here, an applique pressing mat when I went and pressed these down. That way it didn't ruin my wool mat. I did go ahead and press the center of the flower to the flower, but you'll see here it's a very light hold. It pops right off. So I did that because I am going to go ahead and hand stitch the gray to the purple before putting it onto the background. That way it's less bulk to have to hold around. I did the applique mat on top of my wool mat, and then what I did was go in and kind of just cut out the bulk. I might even go in and come a little tighter. Let's see. Just a rough estimate. Even on these little petals, I went through. It's a nice sizable 1/4 inch, you know, left on there. That way when I go to place it on the fabrics, it'll only adhere on that little 1/4 of an inch versus the whole thing sticking down. You'll see I did that to all of them. Even these guys. And they pressed really nicely. I am pleased with how they're looking. Some of them, when I go into stitch, you know, I might have to pull that orange over just a hair, and that's okay. I did find an Armfield bundle. Oh gosh, it was Glorious Color, and it was a multi-pack. Maybe 20, I think, came into play. I really liked it because it had a lot of the colors that I was gonna need. It is an 80 weight. So already looking at these 3, I think I like that medium. Let's see if there's even colors on here. Just has a number. So I'll probably go ahead and use this medium color because it's already disappearing right on there. And you can tell my circles are not perfect. So what I'll do when I go to hand stitch, I'll bring that gray over the white. I could probably even get this guy back to the iron, pull that interfacing under just a hair and press him back down. Either way, it'll be my first time, so I know these are not perfect circles. I really wouldn't even know how somebody could make a perfect circle once turning those around. So yeah, that'll be my next step. And that's it for this video. We talked about the background, we talked about the stems, and we talked about my pressing and my trimming of the stabilizers. And then the only way I can move on is to go ahead and start all the centers of these guys. Same here. This one will be a multi-step, center to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and then bring this to the background.